actions have worked in reverse. You may have thought you were going to discourage us, but instead you have encouraged us. And the more you push us back, the more we will fight to go forward. The more you try to depress us, the more you will inspire us. Maybe you don't know what the word says in Psalm 118, but I'll tell you what it says. The stones that the builders have rejected have become the chief cornerstone, and a new movement is happening, and it is the Lord's doing.
Why have we come to march? Economic justice we're marching for. Why are we marching today? High quality education. Why are we marching today? So every North Carolinian will have health care. Why are we marching today? So that there will be justice in our criminal justice system. Why are we marching today? Because we want our voting rights back. Why are we marching today? Because we believe in equal protection for all people under the law.
But I'll tell you, as we've come to North Carolina today, a state that was once known as a progressive state, not Mississippi, not Alabama, not South Carolina, not Georgia, but the state of North Carolina. A state that we have been able to register on the same day and be able to vote. Well, that's been taken away. A state where we've been able to vote without having ID. Well, you know the story. We're now paying a disguised poll tax in order to be able to get a state-issued ID. But I stand here today telling you that we will not go back. We will not be treated as second-class citizens. We will not be what our folk has called us. He has tried to lower our standards, but we've said to the governor, forward together. Governor McCrory, forward together.
Good morning. I am Dominique Penny, North Carolina's NAACP Youth and College Division President, and I'm a junior at Fayetteville State University. I march because education, voting rights, equality, and moral legislation in every chamber of power across the country, not just in Raleigh. We are here sending a message in Raleigh and around the world that we will come from all corners of the nation fighting for the people who are rejected. I will not rest until all people, regardless of their race, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic status, are welcome.
My name is Ivana Gonzalez. I graduated from UNC Chapel Hill, and I'm a proud Latina immigrant. I march today because housekeepers and groundskeepers on UNC's campus and public workers across the state are being denied their rightful freedom to associate. Our economy is so interconnected that when public workers are kept down, undervalued, and underpaid, we all lose. I will not rest until public workers on campus have the right to collectively bargain with their employer for dignity and fair pay. I march because our state is unwilling to fulfill its end of the bargain to my generation. You expect us to go to college, graduate, and get good jobs, but you underfund our schools and barely support our teachers. And when we stumble unprepared, you take away the social supports that could lend us a hand. I will not rest until you demonstrate your commitment to public education for all, not just those in wealthy neighborhoods.
But while we are not marching, we are fighting. And every day we have lawyers right down the street in the Wake County District Court that's defending 941 people who went out during the summer, the last legislative session, as Moral Monday witnesses. And we are engaged in an effort every day to help the court to understand that there are constitutional rights that must be supported in this state, and constitutional rights that the legislature must recognize and understand that its existence is more important than their narrow-minded political agenda. We are involved in an effort in the North Carolina Supreme Court, that's this building right over here, where we are challenging the redistricting effort that this legislature enacted last year. It was our intent and is our intent now not to let them rest from anything that they've done. And even though they complain mightily about the money that they're spending, we are going to fight them tooth and nail for what they are doing to us. And at the same time, we are in federal district court in Greensboro, where we are fighting voter suppression laws that this General Assembly enacted just last year. And we have Advancement Project lawyers, Kirkland and Ellis lawyers, who are engaged in that fight. But we want you to know that between this March and the March next year, we will be daily fighting on your behalf. Forward together, one step back.
My name is Dr. Charlie Vanderhorst. I've been practicing medicine in North Carolina for 32 years, providing care for HIV patients here and in Africa. I am here because I was invited by my friend, the Reverend Dr. William Barber. I trust in him, and I have trust in all of you assembled here. I've come for him, and I've come for you. I've come today because I have great faith today that we can change the direction of this state, the South, and of our beloved country. But I am also here because we are in a moment of crisis in actual matters of life and death. The policies of Tom Tillis, Phil Berger, and Pat McCrory are harming my patients grievously. I am joined today by hundreds of other health professionals wearing their white coats who also know that this is an emergency for the people of North Carolina, and we have to act. In 2013, the North Carolina General Assembly decided not to expand Medicaid as part of the Affordable Care Act. This left 500,000 North Carolinians without health insurance.
I'm Rich Nixon, a high school history teacher, a member of NCAE, and I stand up for public schools in the same way that every day across this state, educators stand up for children, because they know, as we know, that knowledge is power, education is freedom, and the path to opportunity and equality begins at the schoolhouse door. They believe, as we believe, that schools should be for kids, not for profit. But there are elected officials who enact backroom legislation to stand in the schoolhouse door. There are elected officials who sacrifice our children's future on the altar of political ambitions. And so we march for public schools. We are not those who shrink back and are destroyed, but those who have faith. And while we are bloodied, we are not bowed. This is not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And that's what North Carolina educators do. They keep moving forward as we all move forward together, not one step back.
I'm Jessica Holmes. Like far too many students in our public school system, I know what it's like to grow up in poverty and to have schools be your safe refuge from a violent home situation. When I say, if it was not for a praying mother, praying grandmother, and Pender County public school teachers, I would not be speaking before you today. I would not be a first-generation college graduate. I would not be a law school graduate. I would not be here before you today proudly as an attorney for the North Carolina Association of Educators. People, I am a living testimony that public schools matter. Public schools matter. So we at NCAE, we say no to the war on teachers. We say no to the war on public schools. We say no to an unconstitutional voucher program.
I'm Janet Holm. I'm the CEO of Planned Parenthood. Today we march for women. Today we mobilize for women. And we will vote for women. For the 25,000 women and families who rely on Planned Parenthood every year for basic health care like annual exams, life-saving cancer screening, and birth control. Most of them are still uninsured today because the governor refuses to expand Medicaid. For every woman who makes her own deeply personal and often complex decisions about pregnancy and does not need a politician's help to do that. For everyone who agrees that we will not go back to a time when access to safe, legal, and affordable health care and the voting booth were the rights reserved for the few. And for every woman and man who pledges to vote to protect a woman's access to safe and legal health care, no matter what.
I'm Mary B. McMillan with the North Carolina AFL-CIO. Are there some proud union members out there? Yeah. Why are union members and workers here today? We're here because there's too much corporate greed and we have families to feed. There are so few jobs, no decent wages, inequality tops the news pages. CEOs earn more and more while the rest of us grow poor. They move their companies south, hoping we won't give them any mouth. Well, imagine their surprise as they watch the South arise. From the mountains to the sea, black, white, and brown agree. Now is the time to take a stand for justice throughout this land. That is why we will organize every workplace, every town, and there'll be no stopping us, no backing down. In the face of our unity, injustice will crumble, it will crack, and victory will be ours. Forward together, not one step back.
And it is here in the old North State that we have heard the call of the Spirit of justice to come together once again. The idea of this kind of coalition we see here today is as old as the fusion politics that tried to wrest the South free from slavery. It is as old during the first Reconstruction. It is as old recent as the reconstruction of the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s. In North Carolina, the Forward Together Moral Movement, builds on the work of the historic thousands on Jones Street People's Assembly, which has gathered thousands of people in front of the state legislative building every February since 2007. Standing on deep historic constitutional principles and sound moral values of faith, we have challenged Democrats. Yes, sir. We have challenged Republicans alike. But this year, after an avalanche of cruel and extremist Tea Party policies passed by Speaker Tom Tillis and Senate Leader Berger and signed by Governor Pat McCrory and advised by Financier Budget Director Art Pope and their ultra-extreme followers. This year, after the last session, this year, after more than 30 Moral Monday and rallies around the state, this year, after nearly 1,000 people were arrested for refusing to give up their constitutional rights to nonviolent, peaceful assembly, we return to Raleigh with a renewed strength and a renewed sense of urgency.